Hello everybody, how are you today? It's Sharon Hankins here live with a DIY project for you from Essential Stencils page. If you are here live or if you're watching the replay, you can comment the word replay. We've got a couple of fun things to do today with the September Stencil of the Month Club set. So I'm not sure if you've seen that yet, but I'll be showing you all of that today. We've got a signboard that I've pre-painted in white to work on, and also we're going to upcycle a canvas. You know, I love to do this. So yes, we are working on this. So I've ripped out the staples from the back of this canvas, and so we're going to upcycle a canvas. And I had some other sign. You can see the previous colour in the background here, and I've just given it one coat of Midnight Blue, Fusion's Midnight Blue, but I think I'll just do one more just to make sure. So I'm just grabbing my brush, some Midnight Blue, and going over that with a second coat. So the second coat is just going to be so quick and easy compared to the first one, which you're trying to cover up the original colour that was on here. And there's our second coat. We really didn't need one with that Midnight Blue. It just goes on so well. So now we've got our canvas ready, and we are going to stain that sign frame. Okay, so our picket fence, I want it to go down the bottom. So what's going to happen is I've taken the canvas off the top. I'm not going to put it back on the canvas. I'm going to put it behind. So our frame, that. But for our picket fence and our birds, I want to add this little fence down here. So I'm going to stick it down here as straight as I can and use my white. Okay, so raw silk, offloading my paint as much as I can. The second layer is going to add a little bit of grey or colouring to our fence, and it'll make it look like it's got little wood grain in it. So we've got half a fence. I'm going to quickly dry that. Because we're doing white over a dark background, we want to just add another layer or another coat of that, I think. Holding that down straight and going in from the edges and just swirling those little bits there. Okay, so there's our first coat. Now I want to do our second half of the fence before I go on with our second layer of the fence, and then we can add our next bit. Now some of this might go underneath the frame, because when I put the frame on top of the canvas and a bird on it. Okay, so there's the rest of our fence. Now let's have a look at this second layer. And our second layer for our fence is this part here. So we're going to move it over onto all of those little bits. So the top of the fence is right there, so you want to make sure those all line up with the top of the palings. Okay, so adding our little wood bits now, which add a bit of character to our fence palings. Let's quickly dry that. Have a little peek. Yep, might just do another coat. Or your first month 50% off on the premium plan, and so all the plans are outlined. There we go. Now let's see. Look at that. So you can see this half, and I haven't finished this half yet. Got our woodwick colour. Quick little hit with the hairdryer. And so if you join the Stencil of the Month Club today, this is the one that will come to you mid-September next. Okay, and there we have it, our cute little picket fence. Okay, so that's how you can upcycle a frame. I've pre-painted a board here that also did have another sign stenciled on it. So I've just painted that with 2 coats of raw silk. It's an off-white colour in the Fusion Mineral Paint range. It's really pretty creamy colour. And I think I'd like to try the birdhouse. So I thought it would fit up here nicely. So we could fit the birdhouse with that on top, sticking it down onto my drop cloth so that it sort of doesn't make it as tacky. There we go. All right, so I'm using, this is a colour Iron Clay. You can use whatever 2 colour combinations you'd like. And we just want to offload that. Lots of fun designs I'm seeing this week, both in the Stencil of the Month Club and also on the Essential Stencil page. I forgot to check what everyone's been doing with this set this last week while it's been available. This is a rusty kind of colour called Iron Clay, or you could just kind of leave it a little bit more rustic style. Now, I always recommend making sure your first coat is very dry. Okay, doing some nice circular motions. And now we just pop that off. And then we're going to put this side on. in the right spot. So leaning it up against that is going to look cute. Hopefully it'll all turn out nicely with my colour that I will... So this is coal black. Let's try this, but you can pick any colours you like. You might have a darker background. A little bit more. Oh, I've already got lots over here on my palette. Okay, and being very careful not to have very much on your brush so that you don't get fuzzy edges underneath your stenciling. All right, so just lifting that one up, and we can see it does stand out, so that worked just fine. So we'll try and do a little bit of that brown, woodwick brown, in there for the branches, and I'll grab a smaller brush to do that. And then I've just got to look and see where the branch parts are, because I want to do the other parts. Now, because I've got a white background, it's a creamy white, so I want a white that's going to really stand out. Pencil wood. And so I'm hoping that this white really stands out against the raw silk, which is the white I've got here. So let's see, we might need a couple of coats. So here we go. We've got some of the flowers coming over the top of our birdhouse. There we go. So that's now giving a bit more coverage over the top of that. All right, so now we'll have a look and see. So we take this off. So there's our, do stand out a little bit. See how that's the difference between casement white and raw silk, which is a lovely creamy colour as pink. So let's look at that. And just looking for the white flowers that I'm doing in the centre, doing them pink. And then anywhere, I'm just going to grab some green. If you do the circular motion, if you do the pouncing with the other brushes, they're a little bit more stipply, whereas these have such a beautiful full coverage when you pounce them. Okay, I've got these brushes all lined up. So many colours we're using today. Let's see, we'll take that off, and then you can see how, oops, those cherry blossoms are really showing up down there now. Try with a bird next. So we'll start with that white background as suggested in our colours here. And so we'll use that casement white again. And when you go over something with white, when you go over with a dark colour, the white is still very see-through. So you are going to need a few extra coats of that. All right, I'm going to go on with my colour here. And I think, according to my picture here, I'm just going to use this green colour, but they've used a blue. It could be fun. Or a bit of red. What about red? I think that'll look cute. Now, grabbing the head dryer again, just to dry that off. And so there's our red, we've added that on. Look how great that's looking already. And then our final layer is this part here. So we can see our final layer here, we've added black. And I think this is just such a beautiful set. And when you just follow those simple instructions, the white, start with the white, add a blue, add another colour. And each of the birds has just super easy layering to show you how it's done. There he is. Isn't that just adorable? So I think that you could possibly add a couple of words across there, but I think it looks just beautiful just like that. You could actually add some more cherry blossoms up the top if you wanted to. But I love how that turned out. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.